just leave. I go home. I go home to my life, and I take care of my cat and do all the stuff.
Sure. Here's a rewritten version of your dramatic narrative with a polished cinematic tone, while keeping the intensity and pacing intact. The courtroom is packed. Tension cuts the air like a blade. Then, bam, the cameras catch it. Whoopi Goldberg falters. Not a stumble, not a fall, but something deeper. Her presence, once electric, is flickering. The confidence, the control she wielded like a queen of the screen, gone. She's hunched now, blinking too fast. One hand grips the table like it's holding her up. The other twitches nervously near her face. This is the same woman who once ruled The View like royalty. But this isn't daytime TV, this is a courtroom battlefield. And Karoline, she just dropped a bombshell. That $800 million lawsuit Whoopi once laughed off. It's not a joke anymore. It's speeding through the legal system, fueled by a judge who's had enough of delays. And now, receipts are flying, tempers are erupting, and Whoopi is coming undone. Live, in front of the whole country. Before we break down this public unraveling, smash that like button for the truth. Subscribe if you believe fame shouldn't equal immunity. You tapped it? Good, because this story, it's just beginning. Let's rewind to where it all ignited. Would you like a version that's more neutral or journalistic instead of dramatic?
Women are completely out of touch with reality, and you're right, ABC.
Absolutely. Here's a sharpened, cinematic rewrite of your scene, keeping the tension high and the character dynamics vivid, while giving it a clean and compelling flow. The stage was set, cameras rolled, and Karoline Leavitt, composed, confident, unshaken, stepped onto the View set like she owned it. Because in that moment she did. But there was no warm welcome. The co-hosts circled like seasoned predators, sniffing for weakness. Joy Behar struck first. With a smirk and a cutting jab, she mocked Karoline's youth, questioning how someone so fresh-faced could possibly offer real political insight. Laughter rippled through the panel. Grins widened. Then came Sunny Hostin. A smile laced with disdain. She dropped a line about white privilege. Not her first time saying it, but this time it landed with sniper precision. Cold, sharp, intentional. And then, Whoopi Goldberg, the queen of the panel. She leaned in, eyes locked, voice like a dagger. You didn't earn this. You're just a product of right-wing pity politics. The audience erupted. The panel glowed. But Karoline, she didn't flinch. No rebuttal. No fireworks. Just a calm face. A pen. Taking notes. Every word. Every smirk. Filed away. Days passed. No tweet storm. No podcast rant. No cryptic selfie caption. Just one move. A lawsuit. Filed. Served. $800 million in defamation claims. Headlines exploded. Suddenly, every word from Whoopi was Exhibit A at first. The View laughed it off. She's reaching. Whoopi scoffed. This won't go anywhere, Sunny added. The panel chuckled. Dismissed it live. They expected the storm to pass. They didn't expect it to detonate. Would you like me to help with a continuation or a visual storyboard for this scene? Absolutely. Here's a rewritten version with cinematic clarity and heightened dramatic pacing, while keeping the gravity and structure of your original. They thought it would vanish. Just another wave in the sea of yesterday's outrage. But this wasn't fleeting. This was a reckoning. The case. Fast-tracked by court order. Depositions moved up. Witness lists expanding. Discovery widened to pull in private texts, internal chatter, producer notes. Nothing is off limits. Testimonies are prepped. And Whoopi, she's not even close to ready. ABC's quiet nightmare is turning into a full-blown inferno. Karoline's legal team is surgical, merciless. They demanded everything. Uncut footage. Pre-show memos. Behind-the-scenes audio. Slack logs from the control room. Every message exchanged before the episode aired. And according to someone close to the case, what they've uncovered? Damning. Utterly damning. Because this isn't about a single offhand remark. This is about a pattern. Mockery as sport. Targeting dressed up as commentary. Performative outrage, pre-scripted, and weaponized. And this time, it went too far. There's no pause button. No fade to commercial. No laugh track to soften the blow. Only sworn testimony and the raw truth. The courtroom is silent, humming with tension. The shuffle of legal papers. The scratch of reporters' pens. The quiet mechanical buzz of cameras adjusting focus. Then, boom. Karoline's legal team drops the first exhibit. A document projected onto the courtroom screen, stamped with time codes, internal memos. It reads, "Have Joy needle her on age, then let Whoopi go hard. Ill trend." Gasps ripple through the gallery. But there's more. Another file appears. Keep the camera tight when Karoline reacts. That's our clip. Shock. Silence. This wasn't commentary. This wasn't spontaneity. This was choreography. Takedown, scripted for virality, disguised as banter. The judge leans forward, eyes narrowing. Whoopi's face drains of color. Her lawyer, quietly, instinctively, places a hand on her arm. For the first time, the queen of the panel sits wordless. Because now, it's not about ratings. It's about accountability. And the cameras are still rolling. Want a version that reads like a news article or court transcript? And here's your scene rewritten with vivid cinematic clarity and tightly controlled emotional pacing, heightening the drama while keeping it grounded in courtroom realism. She jerks away, eyes wide, scanning the room like she's searching for an exit that no longer exists. But there's no way out, and the bombshells keep falling. Slack messages between producers flash on the screen. Mention Trump. See if she takes the bait. Plan B. Have Sunny lean in with race. If Karoline freezes, we've got our moment. Then emails. Coordinators scripting the segment like a political ambush. Let Whoopi lead. She's got the credibility. The audience will eat it up. One internal draft has it in bold. Attack with intellect. Dismiss with humor. Flip the crowd. Every message. Every timestamp. Digitally verified by forensic analysts. Confirmed. Authenticated. Undeniable. The judge leans back slowly, removes his glasses, and sets them down with a quiet finality. Then, the ABC's legal team, calm but direct. Did your producers coach the hosts for this moment? Silence. No objection. No denial. Not even a word. Just attorneys flipping through binders, eyes darting, like they're searching for an escape clause that doesn't exist. And in the corner, Whoopi Goldberg, mouth drawn tight, hands clenched so hard her knuckles have turned white. Not confused, not shocked, terrified. Because this isn't just a PR storm. This is a legal collapse. A slow-motion obliteration unfolding on the record. And Karoline still hasn't spoken a single word. We are past the 2-hour mark now. The lights feel hotter, the air thicker. Whoopi Goldberg, once the unshakable icon of clapbacks and sharp wit, her shoulders, once straight and commanding, have folded in. She looks smaller, like a woman carrying weights no one can see. Her famous hands, once animated, expressive, the pulse of every debate, now fidget endlessly, twisting a tissue, smoothing the courtroom table, dusting at nothing. And still, the cameras are rolling. But this time, there's no script. Would you like this adapted into a narrative article format or turned into a dramatic voiceover script?
Respect everything everyone is saying to me, and I don't want to fake apologize. I'm very upset that people are misunderstood what I was.
Here's your next scene rewritten with a cinematic, emotionally restrained tone, keeping the gravity and intensity, but letting the imagery and silence do the heavy lifting. Her attorney leans in. A whisper, maybe comfort, maybe instruction. But Whoopi doesn't respond. She doesn't blink. Then, a tear. Just one. It slides slowly down her cheek, catching the sterile courtroom light like glass. She wipes it away quickly, hoping no one saw. Everyone did. Across the aisle, journalists shift in their seats. One glances at another. Fingers fly across a keyboard, Whoopi crying in court. Another begins a headline draft, raking. Goldberg breaks down on the stand. The judge calls for a 10-minute recess. The gavel doesn't slam, just a quiet, controlled announcement. Everyone rises. Attorneys file out. Reporters stand. Monitors throughout the courthouse flicker with the scene. But Whoopi doesn't move. She doesn't look up. Doesn't shift. She sits frozen at the defense table, shoulders drawn inward, hands still clenched. A bailiff approaches gently, quietly. He leans down to check on her. She whispers, barely audible, "I didn't know they say all of that." Her voice is cracked, raw, not angry, just hollow. On the other side of the courtroom, Karoline Leavitt remains seated, composed, unmoved, not triumphant, not smug, just still, resolute. She watches Whoopi with the same calm, she brought into the studio that day, like she knew this moment would come, like she prepared for it. Whoopi's attorney returns. Tissues, a bottle of water, a soft word no one hears. But nothing can soften what's just begun. Would you like help formatting this into a screenplay scene or short story?
Poor folks, it is not good for y'all because you become slave fodder. It's not a good thing. It's not good for women because you are now being told and dictated to, and you can't say anything because they, throw you in a jail or whatever. And people got very, very, very angry and still are angry. I mean, I'm getting, all of the mail from folks and the very real anger because people feel very different.
Here's a refined and cinematic rewrite of your latest scene. Measured, sharp, and building the full-scale unraveling of both a person and a media empire. But Whoopi doesn't speak. She doesn't smile. She doesn't move beat, she breaks. And when court resumes, she's no longer the icon America tuned in for. She's a cautionary tale. A living lesson in what happens when a carefully curated persona collides with private miscalculations broadcast to millions. Across the aisle, Karoline finally leans in toward her attorney. Calm, steady, she says just 2 words. Let's continue. Then, with a faint tilt of her head, the show isn't over. It's only just begun. Because while the stage of The View sparkles with glossy smiles, bright mugs, and scripted laughter, behind it, ABC is in freefall. Forget press releases. Forget spin. What's happening behind closed doors isn't just damage control. It's corporate crisis. Insiders are calling it the most destabilizing moment in The View's modern history. Not because of what Whoopi said, but because of what's being revealed. This courtroom didn't just put Whoopi Goldberg on trial. It dragged the entire engine behind her, the producers, the planning, the network itself, into the harsh light of day. Inside ABC's top floors, panic has gone nuclear. High-level executives are hopping on emergency Zoom calls multiple times a day, some before the sun rises, all of them sealed behind NDAs, redacted emails, hushed tones. One insider whispered, "We thought it would fizzle out. A headline, maybe a settlement. But now, it's a full-scale disaster." Legal teams are working around the clock, scrubbing through old episodes, sifting emails, combining transcripts with Slack chats, time codes, calendar invites. The network, once known for daytime stability, is now bracing for primetime collapse. And all the while, Karoline sits silent, watching. Because the cameras may have stopped rolling, but the reckoning is live. Would you like this part merged into a full narrative arc or outlined as a limited series episode breakdown?
Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
Well, listen. If you don't have anything to say, you blab. You just go on and 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 on.
I would like to talk about Joe Biden
stating-
and Donald Trump. Who do you work for?
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past. Now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to
the
come back out to the
expectation
panel.
for-
Caroline,
The
thank you very much.
expectation.
Here's a refined and dramatic rewrite of your scene. Tight, cinematic, and echoing the tone of corporate unraveling beneath a polished media empire. Slack logs, archived footage. Anything that might shield the network. ABC's Human Resources Department has reportedly been ordered to audit every political segment aired over the last 18 months. But that's just the surface. Behind the scenes, the financial fallout has already begun. One luxury skincare brand gone, quietly. A longtime auto sponsor, requesting to pause all ad placements until further notice. This isn't a boycott. It's a strategic retreat. Because no brand wants its logo sandwiched between daytime chatter and in backslash $800 million defamation inferno. Inside The View's production wing, the mood has turned apocalyptic. Staffers are quietly brushing off old resumes. Associate producers are taking coffee meetings with rival networks. Even interns, wide-eyed and worried, are reportedly asking supervisors if their names might end up in the court filings. But the real earthquake, ABC is reviewing Whoopi Goldberg's contract. Line by line, not just performance clauses, not just legal protections. They're combing through the fine print, moral clauses, public responsibility, social conduct expectations. In other words, they're searching for the exit. Sources inside the network say quiet discussions have already begun. How to gracefully transition Whoopi out. Not a suspension. Not a statement. A disappearance. Marketing teams have already hit pause on all promotional materials featuring her face. No new trailers. No new banners. Just silence. Because right now, ABC isn't managing a media personality. They're managing a potential collapse. Would you like a follow-up section exploring how the audience or co-hosts are